You're going to want to write this stuff down. We're talking disability claims, VA benefits, and post-retirement coaching this week with Drew Jones from the Veterans Veteran. Stay tuned.
The Outreach Project is powered by Apex Global Outdoors.
Let's go! The Outreach Project! No!
Welcome to the Outreach Project podcast. I'm Hodge. This is Josh. Nice sprinkler and the sound effects. Sprinkler
No
and
big
the sound
deal.
effects. Yeah,
No big deal.
You guys just eat your heart out on the other side of the camera. I got to live with this.
That was a sprinkler if you didn't know what that was.
I got to live with this every day. So this is what usually calls me as soon as I wake up, and this is what I got to put up with all day. So
You're welcome.
but I'll tell you what, who we had in studio this week, didn't mind putting up with him. He threw a lot of great info at us, and I think everyone's going to enjoy that interview. We're talking benefits, claim consulting. We're talking post-retirement coaching. Drew Jones from the Veterans Veteran. That's who's in the studio with us this week. But before we dig into that episode, let's dig into some stuff that's going around the studio right now, and that is a flag giveaway. Talk to me about the flag giveaway. Whose hands built that flag, by the
It's
way?
a heater. I made it.
No big deal.
I made it. But one of you guys is going to take it home. It's $1 an entry. It's live on the site. It's live on socials. You'll see it all over the place. But we're trying to raise a ton of money. So 100% of the proceeds are going to one of the nonprofits that's come on the show, and that's all thanks to you guys. It kind of ties everybody together, encourages more organizations to come on the show, put themselves out there for you guys, so you guys know exactly what they do, as you've seen in all the episodes so far. But we couldn't be happier to bring it to you and to see one of these organizations take home a good amount of money and to provide that support that we so cherish. So
Yeah, we showcase it here. Get out there and raise some money for something, man. And it's 100% of the proceeds. Just like my main man said, someone's going home with a sick gift too. Put it in an office, put it in your house. That thing looks good anywhere. I mean, put it above your deer stand. Nothing's more American than putting the flag above your deer stand. You know what I mean? And thanks for that. I got a quack coming for that. For that.
you're welcome.
Yeah, that's great. Editing nightmare over here. Sprinkler and an editing nightmare. Let's talk about Apex Global Outdoors. You know what they're bringing this week?
What?
We showcased it last week. We said we're going to have field reports. Let's take a look at what these guys are bringing with an Apex Global field report.
Good afternoon. My name is David Beatty. I'm the founder of Apex Global Outdoors. After 22 years of law enforcement, 4 years in patrol, 9 years in major narcotics, 9 years in homicide, I found my next chapter and opened Apex Global Outdoors. Our motto is, if my boots haven't been on the ground, it's not in the portfolio. Prior to becoming a police officer, I worked in some of the greatest resorts in the country, 5-star resorts, learning customer service, learning what hospitality looked like, continuing as a customer to some of the greatest lodges and fishing resorts in the world. We at Apex Global Outdoors will strive to bring you amazing experiences. We feel that every trip should be made up of 4 parts: seeing cool things, meeting cool people, eating good food, and at the end, if the fates smile, a great harvest or a trophy fish, a great picture, or work in conservancy where you're giving back to nature. Apex Global Outdoors is a family-run business. My wife, my daughter, my son, all have roles in the company. But what I can promise you is that we will absolutely work our very hardest to provide you with amazing experiences in the world's greatest places. Not every place I visit makes it to the portfolio, but the ones that are there in the portfolio, I promise you will make your trips absolutely amazing. We look forward to helping you build what those trips look like for your friends, your family, stories that we told around the Thanksgiving table, the campfire, but we look forward to hearing from you. Take a look at our website, see what interests you, and let's talk about sending you to the great spots of the world.
And David, thanks for the sit rep, man. The field reports, they're amazing. We can't wait to see where you end up next. You and Anna are crushing it over at Apex, and we appreciate your support. But we couldn't do a lot without our support. And Josh, let's talk about who we're getting that support from this week for the podcast.
Yeah, this is episode 28, and every episode we're showcasing these sponsors, but it really is made possible by the sponsors, the studios, the time in the studio. None of it is done without them. And this week's no different. We have an award-winning sponsor this week, and it's Green Gorilla Land Management.
Green Gorilla, we're pinned down by enemy brush. Bring in the mulchers.
Low country property owners, investors, and real estate folks. If you've got land that's out of control and you wish to reclaim it, and you've got brush that's out of control, this is for you.
Most people put it off. They don't know who to call, worry about the cost, or get a quote from someone who never shows back up. Here's the difference. We own and maintain our entire fleet of state-of-the-art equipment, so we're ready when you are. Properly licensed and insured with the state. Your land deserves attention, not excuses.
Huge shout out to Green Gorilla. It's not every day you get award winners. We've had award winners on the show before. I mean, we got principal award winners.
Yep.
We've got Small Business Administration winner of the year. Like, this is a huge one for Dan over at Green Gorilla. And if you need a quote, or if you just want to talk about, maybe manicure and that old underbrush, reach out to Dan, man. He's the guy. He'll connect you to anyone, anything, anytime. And that's what he does over at Green Gorilla. Those mulchers dropping in, by the way, sick.
Yeah.
I wish I could get that type of support around here. You know what I mean? Not everybody can get that type of support. Shout out to you, Dan. We appreciate it, dude. Let's talk about something that's near and dear to our heart, though. I mean, you've already gone on the trip. We're showcasing it. It's coming soon. It's Front Lines of Service. It's the culminating event. The podcast is always going to be here, but what Front Lines of Service is supposed to bring is that layer beyond the website, the stuff it's not seen every day. A lot of these nonprofits, they don't put themselves out there enough because they just want to provide that resource to someone. They don't want the acknowledgement or the recognition. But what we get to do is capture that and bring it back to our audience. You went up on a bear hunt up in Canada. Who did you go up there with? And tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so the Foundation for Exceptional Warriors is the group that I went up there with. But, it's real easy, I think, after the fact for people to always see what you do and then be like, oh, I want to do that. This is our way of putting it in front of you in an organized way so you can see what these actual nonprofits do and then go check them out for yourself. So we're not just talking about it, right? We're actually going to be about it, and we want to show you the hard work that these organizations are putting in on the ground and what that actually looks like out from behind a podcast studio.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome show. It'll be me and Josh talking through his adventure. We'll have a lot of great B-roll flowing so you guys can follow along with the story. And Josh, we appreciate you obviously getting out there and putting boots on the ground on location and collecting all this. But let's talk about the episode. Old Drew Jones, man, like when he found us, it was quite, it was a unique way because we're getting contacted by a lot of people, but this one was unique for us because it's one of those full circle. We connect through a sponsorship and now we have him on the show. Give us the backstory about how we connected with Drew and the veteran's veteran.
Yeah, so he actually saw our stuff on TikTok. One of our first actual guys that reached out from the social media in that way, but came on, wanted to see what we were doing, like what we were about, connected with him. He became a sponsor of the show, and in a full circle, not just coming on the podcast, but he's actually growing himself. He's growing a small company, which we love to help with as well. We're sponsoring him now too. We have our logo is going to be on the side of his trailer when he's going around the United States and his community. And he's growing a podcast, he's growing a company, and that's what we're all about, making people succeed and pushing that envelope a little bit in whatever way we can.
Yeah.
So.
Podcast. This guy's got his LLC. He's out there. He's a huge Ole Miss fan. You're going to find that out in the episode. Huge Rebels fan. He loves the Ole Miss Rebels. So if you do contact him, just let him know. Hotty toddy. But Drew, man, he's one of those guys that he's a genuine, authentic guy. And when he tells you he'll reach back out, he's going to reach back out to you. I've connected him. We've connected him to a lot of our guys to help with post-retirement coaching and just maximizing some of their benefits. But it really is important to showcase what he's doing because there's that gap and it's always going to kind of be there. And based on the conversation that we had with him, things are kind of worse in the guard, it sounds like. So his role is integral for a lot of people, especially guys that's been retired for multiple years. If you want to reach out to him and find out how he can help you connect and just have a conversation with him and see where that goes, like I said, he's a real down-to-earth kind of guy. And in this interview, you're going to see it. Let's go right into this bad boy so everyone can see this and get the information they need, and we can stop talking. So let's kick it off with Drew Jones and the Veterans Veteran.
Welcome to another episode of the Outreach Project podcast. I'm Josh. I got in the studio with me, I got Hodge as always, and I have Drew from the Veterans Veteran, aka the Vets Vet, in the studio with us. Lucky to have him. Going to answer a lot of questions that the veterans out there want to hear and are always asking us. What you think, Hodge? You ready for this or what?
I am. I'm ready to talk to the Vets Vet. We got a lot of questions out there from our community, especially on what they can do, and I'm just ready. Hey, we're the Brooks and Dunn of podcasting, and I'm ready to boot, scoot, and boogie all the way across this episode here. Let's get it out to the people. Drew, I hope you're ready, man, because we're about to stick it to you with these questions. You ready?
Yes, sir. I'm excited.
All right, man. Let's do it, Josh.
Drew's ready and raring to go, man. Go ahead and hit us with a little bit about you, man, and what got you started.
All right, yeah, real quick. I was in the Mississippi Army National Guard 7 years. I did 4 years enlisted, 3 years as an officer. While enlisted, I did a deployment to Syria in 2018, 2019. Came home 2019 and pretty quickly realized I wasn't the same from before I deployed, physically and mentally. So I started my VA journey. And it took me roughly about 4 years or so of a lot of back and forth, a lot of denials and more paperwork and more appointments to get my 100% permanent and total. And during that process, I realized really quickly I wasn't the only veteran that was struggling. And that's kind of where it began, me helping other veterans. First person to help was my dad. And then I helped my uncle. Then I helped a friend of mine. The next thing you know, they were telling other people they can contact me. And a couple people mentioned, man, someday you can make a business out of this. And I said, well, I just had an idea in my head. I said, well, maybe one day when I've helped at least 100 veterans successfully, then I would consider starting my own business. And throughout the years, I reached that goal. And January 1st of 2026 this year, I got my own LLC and founded the Veterans Veteran.
Yeah, congrats, big dog.
Yeah,
Thanks,
sir. For us, man, not only does it sound like the path kind of highlighted itself, you've highlighted yourself in what we're doing here as well, man. I want to hit it real quick before we get too far, man. But you're a dad, you're a veteran, you're a first responder, you're an entrepreneur. Like all these things you're hitting on. But the coolest part about what you just said, man, is that the path kind of highlighted itself. It's something that, you're passionate about from your experience. Is that, moving forward, is that what drives you is just the lack of the support for everybody that keeps you going in it?
Yes, sir. I get phone calls every day from people just literally asking me, man, how do I even get started with the VA period, much less the VA disability side of things? Just how do I even get started with the VA? I said, there's so much, just no information being put out there, or even on the worse than that, bad information being put out. So that's the main thing I do, is just try to be a veteran advocate and just get the information out there. Because like I said, almost on an every single day basis, I talk to multiple veterans, just coaching and guiding them on how to get in the VA system, get the health care they deserve, and the benefits that come with the VA. Everyone just thinks of the disability portion, but there's so much more to it than just that.
What do you think the biggest difference is between you and the service that you get when you went to get out, and like when somebody just normally goes to get out?
Man, I was in the National Guard, of course, so I know active duty, they do a little bit of a better job. They put them in kind of like a program, a class or whatever on their way out that kind of, tries to get them lined up with their VA stuff so they can kind of either get it once they get out, or they know how to start the process once they get out. But according to the, National Guard in Mississippi anyways, I don't know, I'm not familiar with many others, but I've heard the same thing. There was no information. It was just, this is your last drill, bring your stuff, turn your stuff in. Thank you for your service. Goodbye. It wasn't like, hey, did you maximize these benefits or these benefits? Do you know now that you're a veteran, you have access to the VA, which entails this, 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 and this? There was none of that.
But I bet you washed those canteens out and made sure that 2-quart was ready for turn in and all the good things that the Army does.
Make sure, hey, here's a long list of the stuff that you still have signed out that you need to find and you need to turn in.
Yeah, dude,
when you think they would have been giving you. They would have been giving you a long list of, hey, these are the benefits you now qualify for. Take care of yourself. If you need anything, contact us. But it wasn't. It was just strictly, hey, come turn this stuff in. Thank you for your service.
Yeah. It's like the brochures that's still around. It's just, you're still using the be all that you can be in the Army.
Yep.
It's like from back in 93. It's like, hey,
yep,
these are your benefits. That's what you get. But dude, I can't believe that process of turning gear in. Is it called CIF in the Guard?
Yeah. Go to CIF. Turn your stuff in.
I don't know how you guys, that alone would make me punch first enlistment. I'd be like, nope, can't do it, guys.
Yeah,
Can't do
yeah,
it.
it was pretty stupid. Well,
So-
I was kind of in between units at that time, so I had to go to actual SIF. So they didn't know me, I didn't know them. It was just strictly turn in what you got, and if you don't have it, eventually you'll someday get a bill for it, which I never did, thank God. So I don't know what happened with that. I just turned in everything I had, and she was
You'll
just
get it.
marking the stuff
Yeah.
off.
You're gonna get it.
somehow, some way it'll show up someday.
They'll hold it out of your pension. Don't worry, they're going to get that.
Yeah,
I do-
someday
I do have
somehow
a
they'll
question.
find me.
I do have a question for you though, Drew. It's we get contacted on the side since you've become a foundational sponsor of the show, which, dude, we can't tell you how much we appreciate that. We get calls. What is this guy like? How do I get in touch with him? How does he operate? Does he take money up front? What makes him different than a just regular VSO that you'll find at a VFW or something like that? Can you give us a quick rundown of what you do, what those fees look like, and then what really sets you apart from a VSO you'll find at one of our veteran headquarters outside of the military?
Yeah, I would say very, very quickly, I would say there's nothing wrong with the VSO. Some of them are very good at what they do, but the only problem is the only time you're going to get to speak with them is if and when you can schedule a meeting and while you're physically at that meeting. You're not going to have their personal phone number. You're not going to have any kind of personal email. You're only going to have access to them at your appointment date and time. And that's it. And then you're going to have to wait for your next appointment. Where I am a very one-on-one personal coaching service, they have my personal cell phone number and they can text me 24 hours a day. And if I'm awake, I'm going to text them right back very quickly. When it comes to a fee, not only did I do this for a few years for free and doing all the research I can within the VA, I did a lot of research myself on other companies, and most of all of them suck veterans in by saying, hey, we're not going to charge anything and make any money unless you make money. But then on the back end, they're charging anywhere from 4 to 9 months worth of their increase, which is it could be a possibility of an insane amount of money. Whereas I come in, I charge a small one time only for life, no matter how long we work together, an upfront fee due upon signing the contract. And then on the back end, if and when they win their claim, they're going to get a back pay lump sum payment, and I'll get a 20% payment of that lump sum back pay, and that's it, just one time as well.
Okay. And how does that kind of compare to the other services that are
Like I said,
offered
a lot
out
of the
there?
other services, they're saying like I said, they don't charge you any kind of upfront fee, or some of them don't, but the big companies, they want to charge you massive fees on the back end. To where, like I said, let's say simple math, you go from $0 a month to $2,000 a month. Well, now you owe them at a minimum 5 times what your increase was. So now you owe them $10,000.
Okay.
The only
Wow.
way you're not going to owe me $10,000 unless your back pay is just unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. You brought up a good point too. And when I went to get out, I had a VSO and all that. And although he did really well when it came to the claim, I never got I met with him one time and he wouldn't answer an email, wouldn't answer a phone call, and you try and think of it you zoom out a little bit, right? In San Antonio, there's over 500,000 veterans.
Mhm.
So there's very few people, to do that service for free for the military, for active duty, and people that are retired. So going out and finding somebody like you that's going to be an agent for you, that's going to answer the phone when it comes to your time to get out, you're stressing no matter what, because you don't know what you don't know, right?
What to do. Yeah.
Yeah. And anybody that went through it is gone, like they're retired or they're
Yeah.
out, and everybody there doesn't care because they're not getting out. So like you're pretty much on your own if nobody answers the phone. When you've met with people like Hodges brought up that are struggling and they'll call us, but when you've met with people after the fact, what takes them so long to get to you? What do you think is the reason that they don't contact you sooner?
Man, they just wondering who I am. Being, they just recently found me on social media. Maybe they're kind of sitting back watching for a little while, seeing consistency of posts, the type of posts, what kind of information I'm putting out, seeing if they can relate on a personal level. And I've had several tell me the truth. They say, man, just being honest with you, I tried to call Veterans Guardian the other day. It's a big name company. And they said, man, I called twice. It's a call center. Like I said in one of my videos, he said, man, I left a message. They never called me back. I couldn't get him to answer the phone. He said, and I saw in one of your videos, I could text you at any time. So that's what I did. I text you and then boom, here you are. You text me right back.
Yeah. Crazy. You did what
I
you
think
said
a lot
you
of
were
times
gonna do.
I talked to a guy today and he said, man, I've been out for 14 years. I don't know why I haven't gotten started, man. I just, what I hear all the time. I said, man, I got so many buddies or people that went overseas that came back that are way worse off than me. I didn't feel like for the longest time if I deserved any of these benefits. And I said, well, man, you can't. And number one, you can't think like that because you all deserve it. That's why it's called compensation. You're being compensated for the time you served in the military. Now, what percentage that is, that's going to be up to the doctors and the diagnosis and the conditions and things of that nature. And then another thing people say all the time, I was scared me getting the benefits would possibly take away from another veteran. When actually, I would say it's actually the opposite. The more veterans that are involved in the VA and enrolled in the VA system, it shows how much bigger the problem actually is. Because the only statistics the VA has is the people that are enrolled in the VA. So there's more veterans that are not in the VA than are in the VA. So whatever statistics they're posting, they're nowhere close to being true because it's not every veteran's in the VA system.
I see too many people. I see too many people when they talk about these types of companies. I think in the back of their mind, it's kind of too good to be true. Something's got to be on the backside of this. It's going to really make me pay for the lifetime of my interaction with that human. Can you give us a story of someone who came to you and you found like connections to resources that you kind of had to earn your way into getting that business?
Well, yeah, I had a guy that I'm working with now, and we were successful. He said, man, I did my very first ever claim with the so-and-so company. He said, man, what did he end up getting? He said, man, I thought they did all right. I didn't claim very much stuff. It was just my first time ever. They got me 20%, which is what he applied for. The two things he applied for, he got them. But he said, man, even though they got me, my claims were submitted and they got approved. He goes, there was no communication. They would never talk to me really. I would call them to check in. They would basically tell me, hey man, if we need you, we'll call you. We're working on it. And he's like, man, I just kept feeling like they were struggling it out as long as they could. So the back pay and stuff would be higher or this and that. There was no communication. Me and him worked together and we had almost everyday communication. He was one of them. He was very active. He did everything I told him he needed to do, went to every doctor's appointment I told him he needed to get. Everything I told him in our plan that he needed to get, he went and did it. And man, then just 2 weeks ago, he called me all excited. He woke up, he went from 20% to 80%, just like that.
Yeah, but you brought up something a minute ago, and I don't want to forget it, but you said a lot of people will say that they don't deserve it in this realm, not only in what you're doing with benefits and the VA, with disability and stuff, in the veteran population that I've ran into since I got out of the military, when it comes to the nonprofit world and all these resources that are out there, that is a majority of what people think. Like, I don't deserve it. I don't want to take advantage of that. I've just never been that guy. Or girl, whatever. Other people deserve it more than I do. And I'm like, man, these organizations in the nonprofit world, the same way you said, like in the VA, like they only have the stats for the people that utilize it. The organizations only exist if they're utilized.
Exactly.
Nonprofit money that doesn't get utilized does not get replenished. So I wish, and I've told Hodge and I've had this conversation a bunch of times, but I wish I could make people do things. I wish I could make them utilize the resources that are there so they could see it. You know what I mean? And be out there and get to it. But you also brought up another thing. When the Army goes through, the Army calls it ACAP when they go to get out of the military, their transition program. The Air Force calls it TAPS. They talk about a couple main points, and it's usually resume, like the job hunting world and the benefits for primarily taking care of your family and your finances. But what they don't hit on is all the other benefits. And I know I've seen your videos that you post, the snippets of like, did you know you get this? Did you know you get that? What kind of feedback and like, just give me a few examples, if you don't mind, of some of those things that people just don't think about. Maybe it's per state or not.
Well, yeah, I know, like specifically here in Mississippi, and this actually just changed. I just found this out myself. For the longest time, it's been if you're 70% or above, you get 2 vehicle tag, disabled veteran tags for $1 each. Well, then there was a little bit of a discrepancy. Somebody told me a couple months ago, they said, man, I'm pretty sure it changed. Now you get 2 vehicle tags and a motorcycle, where before it was just strictly 2, regardless if one was a motorcycle, one was a vehicle, or vice versa. Well, so I moved recently, and now I'm up here in a different county than I was, and I went to get my tag the other day, and I just asked them, I said, hey man, I already have one on my Jeep. Now I'm renewing my car tag. I said, but what about my motorcycle tag? Oh, the law changed. Now you get 2 vehicles and your motorcycle. So a lot of people have no idea. They didn't know about that period, but especially now that you get 2 vehicles and a motorcycle for only $1 each. So 3 vehicles only cost me $3. If you're 100% Mississippi, there's no land tax. You don't have to pay for a hunting or fishing license ever again. If you're 100%, your federal student loans are forgiven. That's anywhere, by the way. And a lot of people just strictly, even today when I was speaking at the, spoke at the local Rotary Club, older veteran, he said, man, what did you mention about? You can go to your local doctor. What's it called? It's called community care. A lot of people don't want to go to the actual VA itself. They hate going there. There's a bunch of veterans there. They said that, they look sad. You'll be there forever. I said, well, yeah, man, that's how you can go to your local doctor and within where you're possibly already going. And it's called community care through the VA. And a lot of people don't realize that. Also, if you're 100%, it's called Chant VA. It's free healthcare insurance for your spouse and your children.
While we're in the same vein of this topic right now, what is the potential unlocking when you get to 100%? I don't think people quite understand. There's way more, like there's benefits that occur after the 100% mark.
Yeah. Well, yeah, even, something strictly, we can always go back to just strictly monetarily, money-wise. It doesn't make any sense mathematically. Between 90% and 100 almost doubles. It's almost a $2,000 difference. You would think, let's just say simple math, 100% is $4,000. So you would think 0 to 100, it would slowly but surely build up to that 4,000. Well, you're going to get to 90%, you're going to be just a little over $2,000. And like I said, then you're going to go up to 100%. It's almost a $2,000 difference. But yet the benefits immediately open up another door, like the federal student loan repayment, 100%. The Chant VA benefits, bam, at 100%. The no land taxes are 100%. So there's a lot of benefits that jump on board only when you get to that 100% mark.
What about the Chapter 35 stuff?
Yeah, your benefits as well for your spouse and your children to go to school. It's almost like a version of a GI Bill that they get.
That's huge. That's huge.
Yeah,
Very big.
There's just so much stuff. You just mentioned one that I've never heard of, the federal student loans. Can you say that again?
Once you get to 100%, your federal student loans are taken care of. Saved me almost $35,000.
Yep, I didn't know that. I mean, I don't have any student loans, but I mean, it really is. It's having somebody that's literally like your agent for benefits that you'll just never know about. I guess a question I have too is one thing I ran into with a family member of mine. It ended up being the family that pushed the veteran to get the benefits because they were struggling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you end up, I know you're doing a lot of outreach right now, especially new business and entrepreneur out there getting after it, setting up booths and shows and all that stuff. Do you connect with a lot of family members that kind of help sway their other family member or service member
a lot of
to
wives
go get help?
A lot of wives that come to me and say, man, I've been on my husband's butt. My husband needs to start to see. They're saying he desperately needs to start getting help, or they desperately need him to get involved to start getting the benefits that come with it, whether it be the money or the health insurance, or even just simply the money they would save on, hey man, we're about to buy 2 new vehicles this year. So if we can get them tags for $1 each, that alone would save us several $100s. Or like my buddy I'm helping now, his wife's a kind of like a travel nurse, so she technically doesn't get insurance benefits for wherever she's working at because they're travel contracts. And he's like, man, we're about to have a baby, so I'm trying to get to 100% for that Chant VA for the insurance purposes.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of spouses will come to me and try to get me to help talk their husband into coming home. It's the same thing, man. I just don't feel like I deserve it.
I feel like that's literally most everybody is the not deserving it category. What do you think is the answer for kind of spreading the word? So I feel like the lane that we're in, right? And you're kicking off a podcast as well. I feel like in our lane on the veteran side and some of the first responder side, it's a lot of word of mouth. Like, do you think there's a reason that everything hasn't been mainstream as far as like all these resources? Because that's how I feel. They're not out there. Like the resources aren't pushed.
That's the main thing, what I do and what I preach, man. There's just no information being put out there. It's like people just don't know. Like, what y'all are doing is so amazing because like you said, there's so many nonprofits out there probably for just about anything you can imagine or you would want to do, but you don't know about. So you just think they don't exist, or you're like, oh, well, I know about this one that's like way off in Florida, and that would be cool if I could ever make it down there. Well, there's probably one doing the same thing within a reasonable distance of where you live. So why the information isn't being put out there, especially while you're in the military, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. They don't want you to even think about getting out, or they don't want you to think about, showing weakness by seeking help, and then, because then God forbid, you tell the military you have something going on mentally, then you're on a mental profile, and now you can't have a gun, you can't go to the range, you can't deploy. So you went from being a full, able, capable soldier to admitting you need some help for mental stuff. Boom, now you're non-deployable and basically useless.
Yeah, the one thing you mentioned, Fifth Squad to us, and you've done a little bit in the nonprofit world too, connecting with some of those guys. Do you have one or two? I know Fifth Squad's one of them. Can you tell us a little bit about those guys and anything you've gotten to do with those guys so far?
Yeah, I was a big supporter of them for a long time, and then I just luckily within the last year or so, got offered to come on board as a member, and now I'm one of the newer members for what we call Tennessee chapter because it's based out of Mississippi. But yeah, man, it's some guys got together and they said, man, what can we do to help other veterans and their families that are struggling? So their biggest push now is what they call the QRF fund, man. If veterans, lights get cut off and they need help, they don't like getting paid for another couple weeks, or, their phone got cut off, something like that, they can contact Fifth Squad. The only thing they have to verify is their DD-214 to prove that they are a veteran, and they can set them up with a certain amount of money to help go toward that bill right away. And that's a everyday 24-hour-a-day thing they have available, as well as multiple other things they do. They partner up with Combat Vets Motorcycle Association, which I'm also a part of. Like just a couple months ago, they helped build an older gentleman veteran is a handicap accessibility deck to the back of his house got destroyed in a big storm we had. Well, they teamed up together and went down there and fully rebuilt it for him.
I mean, as we pull more and more of these resources together, and people are seeing like, hey, you guys have resources. Having somebody like that in your back pocket, there's some due diligence that has to be done, right? When you have an organization like that, but knowing that those organizations are out there and they can provide especially generic funding, because everybody kind of has their lane. Is that pretty much mainly the one that you've dealt with so far? Is there any other guys?
Like I said, them, I'm a big part of them and a big part of Combat Vets Motorcycle Association, because their slogan's vets helping vets. So of course I felt like I was one of them from day one. So I seeked them out and got membership and do a lot of benefit rides and things of that nature to raise money for certain people, veteran families and stuff that are in need. So those are the two main ones that I've been a part of for a while now.
I want to circle back to something real quick, Drew, is something you had said earlier. When you connect with these people that reach out, I think it's important to highlight that you're not just coaching them through the VA process, knowing the resources that they can have that it unlocks and all these other things. I think the biggest problem that we face is everything is partitioned into its own section. And unless you go to that particular website, or unless someone actually tells you from that organization, like, these are your benefits, it's overwhelming. We established that as a person leaving the military, it's overwhelming as it sits. But if you have to go and find 100 different pages full of information, I think that's another thing that you highlight for someone who is on the fence. It's like, well, if he's just going to take my money for doing claims, no. What Drew's going to bring to the table is also telling you those things, so you don't have to go seek all that information that is on all those different sites. I bring that to the table as well.
This episode's brought to you by Rucking Realty Group, a team that understands service, sacrifice, and what the word home truly means. Founded by Marine combat veteran Mike Evans and his wife Natalie, they don't just help families buy and sell houses. They walk beside people during some of the biggest transitions of their lives. They know that moving isn't just paperwork and keys, it's stability, safety, and a place where healing and new chapters begin. Their heart for veterans, first responders, and hardworking families is exactly why they stand with the Outreach Project. If you want a team that leads with integrity, grit, and genuinely care, Rucking Realty Group is who you call.
Correct. And like I said, it's not just strictly a disability claim company. Like I said, I coach and guide them through the entire process. What anything VA has to offer them, I'm here to coach them and train them on, educate them how to utilize those benefits. Like, I haven't had private health care in over 2 years. I only use the VA for everything: chiropractor, urologist, eye exam. I'm getting ready to go to my first dentist appointment through the VA, like endocrinologist, like everything you can think of, I use the VA for. And a lot of people don't realize that. Think, number one, they have to go to the actual VA, but they don't. And they don't think, well, I could probably only go there for my primary care. I can't go for this other stuff. Well, I go to the VA. I use the VA for literally everything. And I'm there as well. And I don't just tell them, hey, call me on this day and this time. And then they call me. I say, oh, well, you need to do this, 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 and this. Check back with me in a month and let me know you get it done. I'm here on an everyday basis. If they have hey man, what'd you tell me to do last night on this website? I say, hey man, I told you to do this, go to this step, do this. This is what you're looking for. I'm like, hey man, they texted me the other day. Hey man, I got my CMP exam coming up. I said, all right, call me tonight. We'll talk through it, tell you how it's going to go, what to expect. I'm there the entire way. It's not just strictly, hey man, I got a claim coming up. What do I need to do? And then that's it. And I even have a couple of, we've built a, kind of a friendship through all this. We just routinely check on each other. I'll see them post something on Facebook or something. I'm like, hey, man, you all right? Your posts look like you're a little down a little bit, or vice versa. They'll text me like, hey, man, I saw you had the kids over the weekend. How's things going? You just moved in a new house. So like, I'm there with them every day. We can be as close as you want to get, or it can be strictly business. I'm here for either one. They don't have to text me just specifically for a disability question. It can be anything to do with the VA, transitioning out of the military, mental health stuff, advocate of that. I'm big on that. And just if they said what transition out of the military, they can ask me like, man, what was it like getting out of the military? What did you do? What was it like getting out of the military and getting out of law enforcement? Two major careers that I stepped away from. What is it like transitioning from there?
So you say you use the VA specifically for your healthcare needs, dental and vision and all that stuff. What's your take on the care that you were provided? Because there's going to be a lot of different answers to that question, but from someone who does your job professionally, and then you go to the VA to get your health care, how do you see the health care you get from the VA?
Well, I think the biggest discrepancy comes in a lot of people hate and refuse to go to the actual VA itself. It's just so big. It's always crowded no matter what day you're there or what time you're there. Very long wait lines. You're going to be there all day long almost no matter where you go. That's why I 100% utilize what's called community care. I go to my chiropractor. Like I said, I live in, in this part of the county. The chiropractor's over here on this part of the county. I went to an eye doctor right down the street. I go to the urologist that I've been going to for several years. Like, I get all my MRIs here at the local hospital. Like, I make sure I use community care for everything so it's convenient to me, and I'm going to civilian doctors. And 90-some% of the time, they're very appreciative that you're there as a veteran and you chose to come through them through the VA. But like I said, me personally, I've never had any bad experience going to the VA other than you're probably going to go ahead and plan on being there all day long.
With all the events that you've been doing recently, so you're all over the place. You have your booths out everywhere. You're at bike nights. You're at coffee with your veteran, coffee with a veteran, all that stuff, man. Doing all your outreach. Is there anything in your community specifically that's kind of like highlighted itself?
I just noticed, man, there's a lot of people. I even did a post one day like, hey, how many businesses right here in Hernando are veteran-owned businesses? And man, I was blown away. There's multiple, you think of a veteran business, you think it's like a gun shop or like a gym or like a nutrition place. But man, there was multiple. I mean, I would have never even known that they were veteran-owned, or, hey, I'm looking to host what's called a Coffee with a Veteran event. I'm interested if any businesses would like to step up and host the event. A multitude of businesses immediately, hey man, we love our veterans, we love our community, we'd love to help any way we can help you, let me know. And there wasn't much really going on other than your typical like Veterans Day parade. And I'm like, man, there's so many veterans here in DeSoto County. We're just on the south of Memphis, across state line. I said, it's the fastest growing county in Mississippi for several years. I said, I know there's got to be an overwhelming ton of veterans that are here. How is there not more veteran events? How is there not more veteran themed things going on? Because I know the community is there to support them. I just never see anything in social media or in the community that are veteran style stuff. So man, the outpouring of love and support I've received over the last couple of months is just almost overwhelming, but in a good way. Everyone's just jumping on board. They're loving it. They want to show their support for veterans. And they all say the same thing. Man, I can't believe there's not more companies like you. I can't believe there's not more events like this going on. Like, anything you need, we're here to help. Like, I'm planning on having a real big event downtown sometime this summer, or maybe in the fall when the weather gets a little bit better, because it gets so hot and miserable here, where I actually want to shut a street down and just have a straight up veteran/first responder appreciation day, and have some food trucks and that style stuff go on, just to literally have the community come out and the veterans and stuff be able to come and eat for free, and first responders eat for free, but the community and organizations within the community come out just showing their support. And they said, even the mayor here in Hernando absolutely loved the idea. He said, man, whenever you're ready to present that to the board, let me know. And I think that's an amazing idea. I can't believe we haven't had one of those already.
Yeah, block parties are never bad, my friend. Is that something that you're going to be able to kind of help facilitate with your podcast, and that you're hoping to facilitate?
Yeah, that's what I hope to do. At the start of every podcast, I'll jump on there and be like, hey, this is my monthly events I have planned. Coffee with a Veteran event, last Friday of every month. This month it's at so-and-so, see you there this Friday, or hey, next month, be ready. The big block party is coming on, blah, blah, blah. So hopefully that'll be another platform to put it out there every episode to let people know all the events I'll be at and the stuff I got going on.
And it's going to be weekly, monthly? How's that going to work?
Oh, To first start out, it'll probably be 1 to 2 a month just to get my feet wet, before I get, more comfortable and jump in it. Then obviously the goal is to be one a week every week.
Yeah, I would say too, man. You brought up a really good point about Justin Hernando, right? So like you're one person and you can start all these chain reactions, whether it's highlighting veteran-owned businesses, whether it's putting together a block party, whether it's, putting a booth up, telling people about the benefits they don't even know about, bringing veterans together for coffee, letting the community meet them, highlighting them. Like you can do so much. And honestly, it's usually the people in our own community, whether it's veterans, first responders, like nobody cares about you more than your own community. You know what I mean? So it just kind of goes to show everybody the example, right? So like you can be the disgruntled, too cool for school veteran or first responder that, the hard shoulder, whatever, and put up that front, or you can roll up your sleeves and be like, hey man, I want to be a part of the change. Like there's resources out there, there's people that are hurting, there's people that need help, and I'm here to do it. And I think it's so cool to see it, man. Like you're doing a lot of things, I know it's probably overwhelming for as much as you're doing. You're a one man show, but Hodge and I see it, man. You're crushing it. It's super cool to see. But if you had a message for, and we'll say veterans and first responders, because we got a little bit of everybody listening. For anybody that's out there kind of struggling, man, or somebody that's getting ready to get out of what they're doing, what's a message that you'd throw out to those guys?
Man, just be prepared. If you're about to get out, whether you're going to leave a certain department in law enforcement, you're about to leave this department to go to a different one, or you're just going to get out altogether. Same thing with the military. You're getting ready to get out. You need to prepare yourself of how quiet your phone's going to get. When you're in there, you're in the mix. You're part of the family. You're part of the brotherhood. You're there every day. You're in it. You know everything that's going on. You're right in the middle of things. You feel like, you're always talking and texting somebody. Then when you get out, it's going to surprise you. And it's going to surprise you, especially the first time you leave. When I left my first department, took a little break, it hit me pretty hard. It's going to shock you how quiet that phone gets. But you need to realize that's just part of life. People's life keep going. They're in a routine. They're there working. Just because you left and they don't reach out as much or not anymore doesn't mean anything that you think it does at that moment. It took me a little while to get after that, to look back at it, to realize it's just part of life. Their life is still going, especially a big organization such as the military or law enforcement. No matter who you are, what your resume is, the machine has to keep going, whether you're there or not. So you can't take it personal when you step away, that it looks on the outside as if their life just kept going no problem without you being there. It's just part of the business. And don't take it personal and get deep down hard on yourself. And the first thing you need to do is, if something happens or you're not the same, you need to admit that you need help, because there's nothing wrong with that. And that took me a little while. When I got home from deployment and jumping right back into law enforcement, it was a little hard for me to admit there for a little bit that something was wrong, that I wasn't okay.
Yeah, putting that pride aside, man, and getting help for anybody is one, it's tough. Two, it's necessary. And it takes, your brothers and sisters looking out for each other to notice that too. You know what I mean? Like you said, if you know somebody's off, don't wait to say, hey, or, I see that post, you all right? Or, whatever the case may be. But with your growth in the company, you're putting together the trailer and booths and advertising and a podcast. What is the future? What does the roadmap look like for you? What's success look like in the next year, 2 years for your growing business?
I want to be able to do this full time. I want to be able to wake up and spend every day doing nothing but finding ways to get out there and advocate for more veterans. I want to do speaking engagements. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to take that trade. My ultimate goal, man, this might sound crazy, but it's my dream. I want to, like you see the big buses, the RVs for like presidential campaigns, and the entire bus is like wrapped. I want a drivable RV that's the entire thing is wrapped, like I'm going to get my trailer wrapped, and I want to be able to travel around and go on Facebook Live or jump on a podcast and say, this episode I'm being shot. I done went to San Antonio, Texas to visit Josh down here, the Veterans Mobile. I want to be able to travel. If there's a big veteran event going on in Texas, I want to be able to jump in the RV that's fully decked out with all the full custom wrap, and I want to be able to travel down there and be there. I want to be at the big events. I don't want to just be just local. I don't want to be just a guy on social media. I want to actually be at these events. That's why I love getting out and setting a booth up at these different events within the community. I want to be seen. I want to be, let them know that I'm here, that I'm a real person. I'm not just somebody that they're going to see on social media, but never actually meet with. I want to be able to have the flexibility by working for myself to be able to travel and be at these events and be seen and be out in the veteran community, not just within my local community or within my local state. I want to be actually out and about traveling and be an advocate for veterans all over the country.
Heck yeah, dude. You just made me think of one of the guys that I want to connect you with after this is they haven't come on the podcast yet. They're scheduled to come on in a little while, but the Duck 214 guys, they are right up your alley. And I think you guys can utilize the resources that each other has. And they're huge advocates within the VA and in that space, especially here in San Antonio, but across the nation is what they're trying to be too. So I want to connect you guys when we get offline. But man, before we get you out of here, what's something that we missed that we need to get out to the people that you can think of? You got anything?
Man, don't be scared to reach out, man. Don't think, if I reach out to him, he's going to try to pitch me and pressure me into being a client. I'm not a salesman. I have no record of being in sales, no history of sales. I was law enforcement, military. I did just under 2 years as a branch manager for an electrical distribution company. I have no experience in sales. If you call me, I'm going to talk to you like we're talking now. I'm be like, what's going on, man? Tell me, how's your VA journey going? You know, if you have any kind of question, don't hesitate to reach out. Like I tell everybody, whether you ever become a client of mine or not, if you listen to anything I ever say or not, the best thing you can do today as a veteran, go on va.gov today and do your intent to file for your compensation claim. That locks in 1 year of your back pay date. That way you have a whole year to get your stuff together, whether that's your paperwork, your diagnoses, whatever. A lot of people think, well, man, I need to wait till I get my stuff in order to start my claim. That's totally incorrect. You just need to get your stuff in order before you hit the submit button. You can do your intent to file today, and that gives you a whole year of getting your stuff in order, and you're not losing any back pay because it's going to be from today if you did it today. But again, just, man, if you have any kind of question whatsoever, anything to do with the VA, getting out of the military, if you're interested in law enforcement, getting out of law enforcement, what that's like, I've been there, I've done that. I've had the highest highs and the lowest lows in both careers. So I know what it's like starting out, what it's like being at the top, what it's like being at the bottom, what it's like getting out, doing the VA stuff. My phone number, 901-258-7621. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok is the Veterans Veteran, and my website is thevetsvet.com.
Well, man, we're sending them to you. And Hodge and I have already had people hit us up and be like, hey, should we talk to him? We're like, yeah, call him, talk to him. Here's
That's what I'm saying.
contact.
I'm not a salesman.
Yeah, like,
if you text my phone, you're gonna talk to me. There's not gonna be some random person to answer and connect you to me. It's gonna be me.
Yeah. So, Hodge, what you got, man?
Drew, from a foundational sponsor standpoint, you supporting us, it's just a full circle moment for us to sit back and reflect on what you're about to start with that podcast. And we want to say that we support you. Obviously, you reached out and we were more than happy to sponsor the trailer and to get you kind of started. And I hope everybody is going to take that opportunity to do the same. If you haven't, he's going to have a sick trailer. Reach out to him, get your name, get your logo, get something on the side of that trailer. This man will be at those events and you will get seen just like he wants to be at those events. So it's a great opportunity to work with you, just like it is on this podcast. But what is your favorite football team and why is it the Ole Miss Rebels?
That's a lie.
Drew, I'm telling you, all jokes aside, brother, like we really appreciate what you do for our veterans. If there's people on the other side of this camera that are scared to reach out, you can contact me and Josh. We're going to tell you it's just as easy as contacting Drew. And it's not hard. He gave you the phone number. He gave you all the ways to do it. But I just want to say, Drew,
and
thank you for
my personal cell phone number.
Yep. And just thank you for your service and what you've done for the country. And thank you for all the time you spent as a first responder. I don't know if people have given you your flowers enough, but we appreciate it and everything you do as a foundational sponsor.
Thank you, sir. Thank both of y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you're like I said, man, you're all around. You're a foundational sponsor, but you're a veteran, first responder, entrepreneur, business owner, and you're out there, you're doing the thing, and you're giving it to the community and giving back to everybody. And we couldn't be more proud to be partnered up with you. And we look forward to seeing where you're going to go and where you're going to take this thing. We're both trying to go to the moon. And I think together we're on our way. So that's going to do it for us here at the Outreach Project Podcast. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Let's go!